Inner demons revised! The thoughts of ghosts within the mind. Chapter 1. The nights always seem to strangle the view within a room caught within one brain, or maybe two caught in the reflections of 7 visions, suns and moons that burn within the night. A society who had judged a man walking in the spotlight of dark streets, blood stinging, dripping onto a distant sand, or within various moons. 7 stings and a face that will never reflect within the stars or the blue mist of the horizon of the black hole that bounces the light and the dark. Staring at a star that fades, then lights within the distant corners of Sean's eyes or within his mind. A speck of the sand that was buried and hung in the moonlight sky. A breath kept him standing in the rain, thinking what the right light within the road was. A stream of blood within the cave of scares. Visions of cross within the pain of turning away from the low moans and words of innocence and pain within the hills. Just remembering the joy of the killing and seeing the destruction of entire races, seeing the face as he held the 7-bladed swords to sting the minds of the vast images through time and space that flashed before him. Feeling the cuts and memories of all the battles through the solar systems and within time and space. Hearing distant voices, feeling the pride within the pain of others, knowing he enjoyed it a long time age. Then something changed. Seeing the 7 stars, catching the soul within a planet beyond his own mind. Thoughts and desires. Wondering why did he feel so much passion for this planet? The land. The people. The spirit they held within them, but will never show. Feeling the split within his soul and how others turned and tried to take his life away. Stopped by the shadow that still haunts him today as they battled in the sand and within the sea. The father who cried, "He is mine." Even though he took every single grain of sand within his hand. A sacrifice Sean knew he had to pay. But one day he would line the stars within his mind and bring an end to the battle within his heart. But never knowing how he will bring the moons and suns together at the same time, as this vision was blocked by the forces and cold shadow now within his mind. Stopping him see the real past of events, just blurred images of battles and thoughts. Visions of the ones who will help him. Maybe the ones who saved him from the destruction was on this planet or somewhere else. Why is he here, he thought? Maybe to keep me from the dark truth or to find the ones so they could destroy them. He knew though it had been done in a certain place and time. When the split came within the souls of the universe of every being like the scars within the mountains within his mind. Sean shook his head for a second, wondering how could that be me? Seeing part visions of what he'd done throughout time. But he knew that there was something they were blocking from his mind. Why he may have turned away from the destruction and loving of band of brothers he had united in death and blood. Knowing it was the night of the so-called final solution of the enemies within the land and memories of the past child looking within the universe. Knowing the plans next as he charged, turning in the mirror of the sea, but knowing he had killed so many within his land. Death, he brought to so many holding hands, now was a fight for a race who did not know the enemy within. The Gourmandises needed to take hold and destroy the Orthians within this planet plane, and Sean could only see visions of the betrayal he had caused and knew he was the link between it all. These dreams seemed to haunt him through this time and space, echoes of the deaths, screams seeing the light of the 7 beams so many times within his mind. only to see the dark void take it away from his hands. Wondering when he would unite the moons, stars, and seven suns?
Sean then felt darkness and the tingle of coldness within a cave of the mind. Darkness within his silent soul and battles within the essence of time as he saw a lone figure sitting on the floor. In a cave with drawings of battle stars. The lone flame in the middle of the floor only showed the figure who stood staring and touching the scars of the past. As he drew close, the figure turned, and he could see himself as a boy. With a sword in his hand, feeling and knowing the hate and love within his eyes, which would return to either calm the stream or destroy this beautiful scene. The wind blew throughout the cavern, a whistling sound of the wolves in the darkness within. He moved to the light of the flame, and his small body felt the cold. Looking upwards at the scar within the cavern tomb, stepping forward, he moved towards the opening, trembling hands trying to hold the long sword within his hand. Hearing the screams of battles past and the wolves screaming out for blood again.
As he moved to the scar, he could feel a sudden breeze of warmth within the air. He stepped back to see a shadow move and disappear within the walls of blood and tears. The figure looked and smelled like someone he once knew. But from what time, or did he even want to cross the line, the void, and see and feel these emotions again? He had not moved from the rock, yet a part of him still felt a bond with the tribe and family lines. But this did not feel like one of them anymore. He had changed when the breeze and hand touched his face. The echoes of the past within the caves and battle lines had a cold spirit of betrayal and lies. Maybe that's why they hide in the darkness of the mind and the wars within the walls. He moved slowly into the night, the howls behind him, but stillness in front of him. He remembered his father's voice, "Do not step outside. The scare for your world is within the cavern stones." What did he mean by this? He thought, why should I not step and see the planet of my life? Feeling the sand beneath his feet and the anger of the cave disappearing off the walls from within his mind. Hate, greed, and the battle of times trickling from his body onto a ground that seemed to hold the speeches within the few. For a moment all he could see was the lifeless sky before him, but with a sense he could feel a light within the darkness within this new void. A hope of light. A single dream within a culture of life, and a new warmth in the sky that holds at hands and love for everyone inside.